ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite dark sorcerer here. And today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about spiritual possessions. It is one of the biggest things that people are curious about upon social media today. I'm talking, if you look up possessions, spiritual possessions, demonic possessions on social media, like platforms like Google or, say, for an example, YouTube, you're going to get a pretty high number of people interested in that topic. If you go underneath Facebook, for an example, and get underneath the groups of Satanism, demonolatry, people are always inquiring about spiritual possession. What is it? How is it done? Okay, type thing. How can I become one with a demon? You know, and then you get the mentally disturbed that want to, couple with a demon like an incubus or succubus. Okay, you want to get these few that think that they actually are these beings, and it's very interesting and funny to see. But when we get into the actual stages and the understanding of what these stages include, then you have a better understanding of what a practitioner of demonolatry or a spiritualist undergoes when they invite a spirit into themselves. Okay, and there's a difference between inviting a spirit into you and having one come into you against your will. And you'll see that as this video goes on. So let's just talk about this for an example. There are 5 stages. 5, not 4, 5. Okay? The first one is the invitation. Okay? The invitation is where you do something or you invite a spirit into you. If you are a Satanist, you basically begin and start out by performing a invocation to Satan. Okay? For an example, the invocation normally involves some form of blasphemy. If we follow, say, the grimoire traditions, okay, you're basically aligning yourself with the forces of darkness, Lucifer, the Emperor, and all the demons that he commands. Okay, if you go by the more traditional grimoires, such as let's go with Turksuzij, the demonic Bible, you're basically aligning every part of yourself to say, I give my blood, my body, my mind to Satan. This is coming from the demonic Bible. Okay? If we go back 500 years to, or even 600 years, to say the Red Book of Appin, we see where you would perform such rites as animal bones being scattered around, a tomb, a crypt, around in a circle. Okay, the image of necromancy, for an example. And you would see the blood being sprinkled. You would see a bag, a griscris bag, being placed in the triangle of evocation. Profanities being spoken and spewed. Okay? And in a lot of today's grimoires, you hear the terms, I spit on Jesus of Nazareth. I condemn him. I renounce the church, the holy church, and all of this stuff. Okay, and this has gone on for like 500-600 years. Okay, but by doing that, that's an invitation for them to come to you. Okay, in black magic, when you invite a demon into your sanctum, into your home, into your inner sanctum, okay, you are in fact aligning yourself with them. And when you put up seals, you put up reversals, protections, cloakings, Okay? You are, in fact, denying the opposition. This goes all the way back to Sanskrit, okay? The Dead Sea Scrolls. And throughout European traditions, not just Middle Eastern. It's not just Western or Eastern traditions either. This goes all the way back to ancient Mesopotamian. It goes back as far as Proto-German, Slavic traditions, and you'll see this when you get further and further into your studies. So, in aligning yourself with a demon or the forces of darkness, no matter how you look at it, you got to give them that invitation. Okay, if you if you go into the more modern world, let's say for an example, let's go into the Catholics or the JCI, the Judo-Christian institutions. Today, Catholics would go through all these medical diagnoses. Okay, are you schizophrenic? Are you do you have some kind of epilepsy type episodes? Okay, do you have leprosy or do you have some form of eczema? Whatever. This stuff is always looked at long before they even consider demonic possession, which would put them in front of the exorcist. Okay. Now, this is what's interesting here because when you have some kind of disease, for an example, you take you take the werewolf disease, the gene. In the old days, seeing a man or a woman with overwhelming body hair, you would be classified as a werewolf. You would be classified as an agent or a servant of the devil. If you have leprosy, well, obviously you've gone against God, and you've given yourself to the devil. This is the invitation. And with all the stories that you hear coming from the JCI, not just the media, especially modern day over the last 10 years or so. You got a man who's a registered sex offender, now a minister down in Jacksonville, Florida. You've got over 40 to 50 ministers between Baptists and Catholics that have been arrested and put on the sex offender registry for molesting children. Okay, this is all through the JCI, but they don't talk about this shit. Okay, what do you think you are doing to that child? You are literally opening them up to feelings of depression. You're giving them these notions of being hurt, being wronged, and they're going to seek out vengeance. Azrael, Lord of Death. Okay? Vengeance. Okay? They're going to want to lash out. And all that rage and all that anger, that hatred, to a Christian, you've given yourself open to the devil. You've allowed yourself to become one with the devil. Okay? And it's interesting to see just how many things are connected to the devil these days. Okay? Like, I was just watching this morning, for an example, the exorcism tapes, which is over 300, I might add. Not 300, but 3 hours worth of, if you speak German, you'll be able to understand. And it's the exorcism tapes, uncut audio of Annalise Michael's exorcism. Okay? You can find that right on YouTube. And it talks about how she gave herself over to the devil, how the church couldn't save her, the whole kit and caboodle, because she's now of the devil. Okay? And it's interesting because how do you align yourself with the devil? You've got to do some kind of invitation. And that is the first stage of what the Catholics refer to as being possessed. The invitation. Okay? You're either doing a rejection of the church and their God, or some form of blasphemy. So you see how that all plays into effect. Stage two, is the infestation. This is where the demon begins to alter your personality. It begins to become link itself with you. Okay, this is where, in the JCI perspective, is when the downfall of your psyche, your deterioration of your mind. Okay, which is a load of crock, by the way, and you'll see that in just a few minutes. So the infestation is this ground setting. Think of it as the foundation of your downfall. Okay, according to them, this is where it's linking itself to you, so you won't know where you end and it begins. Think of it as splicing genes, genotherapy. Okay, when an occultist invites a demon into himself or herself, you are literally giving it permission to enter you, to share your body with it. This is that stage, that infestation. The third stage is the obsession. The obsession stage is when it begins to take over. You end up hearing its voices, the way it speaks to you, the way it alters your personality, your way of thinking. Okay, and it's starting to take you over. Okay, it's basically how should I say this? It's more or less the fact that, according to the JCI, you are losing the battle to the devil. Okay, but here's the kicker: to a Satanist, it's an honor for a spirit to come into you, to share its wisdom with you, to teach you to be better. To a demonolator, working with demons is one of the best things that a practitioner can do. Bringing back the old ways, the ways of knowledge, wisdom, enlightenment, herbalism. You see, this is where your minds begin to merge. This is where you literally become one. Okay, especially if you're going to become a one unit consciousness. Okay, and that's according to the JCI as well. But Satanism, demonolatry has nothing to do with the church, and that's very evident through history and mythology. But hey, nobody delves into that shit no more, except for us old guys that really love spirituality. So, and that brings us to the fourth stage. According to the Catholic Church, this is the takeover, the hostile takeover. And this is where the church says that the demon is in full command of your body. Okay? This is where it can move you, it can do whatever. It shows its power through. You are no more, and the demon is now obsolete. Or not obsolete, but in absolute control. Now, here, this is where the fourth stage connects with the fifth stage, the voluntary possession, outside of the wrongful possession or the unwarranted. Okay? Now, you remember what I said earlier during the second stage or the first stage, the invitation? Let's get into occultism. You draw the circle of empowerment, be it an inverted pentagram, be it an altar room, as sanctified, ritualized room. And it's interesting to see, no matter what tradition you're in, you have a room. You got all your candles up and running, the incense. You draw the circle, the triangle, or you're in the triangle with the spirit. Either way, it's there. Everybody has their own technique that works. You look at Baphomet X, for an example, my good friend and brother, Joseph Nunn. His rituals shows him in a circle with a triangle, but he also uses the triangle at times when he's doing invocations. You see how he manifests the spirit after hours of invocations. Sure, he cuts and splices just like anything you see on YouTube today, but it's there. I've shown audio tapes that have been recorded during my personal invocations, summonings of spirits to friends, and they can't believe the partial possessions that take place, where it's visible in the tone, the hormonal tones of your voice. Hey, brother Hades, what's going on? So you're sitting there speaking the words, the mantra, the phrase. For an example, in nomine spiritus domini mundi est, and then you name the spirit that you're summoning. In domus de ornament ausium, welcome to the house of golden bones. As necromancers, as Satanists, we surround ourselves with occult paraphernalia, such as statues, athames, candles, skulls and bones and all kinds of stuff. Sure, nowadays they're more ceramic in a lot of stages, but if you go to the grocery store and you buy a chicken or a turkey, you're going to get more bones out of a chicken than you would a turkey. You can go to get a ham, for an example, one of those big ass hams, and you got all kinds of bones in there. You can get steak and you got bones in there. People don't realize that though. Hey, I just want to get a human skull or whatever. And people don't have the balls to go out and purchase one that would cost roughly about 1,500 to 2,000, depending on where you are in the world and where you're having it shipped from. And there's sites on Google where you can actually purchase them legally. There's a company out in Chica, California. I forget the name offhand, but it's there. They sell human and animal bones from anywhere from $200 to $1,500. So, I mean, it's right there. But people don't realize this stuff when it comes to voluntary possessions from occult summonings. So, when you get into actual rituals, you think offerings and sacrifices, blood offerings, bloodletting, which has been a part of spiritualism and religious practices for hundreds of thousands of years. I'm talking this stuff goes all the way back to the proto-cultures, back to the Paleolithic era. Okay? Doesn't matter if you're from the land of magicians and sorcerers, Egypt, or you're from the Greek and Roman or European traditions, or even the Middle East. It doesn't matter if you're from South America or North America. These tools have been there, ways to define the future, how to contact spiritual entities. So, why are people so afraid of this? What is it about losing control that people fear? Is it because they don't fully understand? Maybe they should get underneath Google or YouTube and begin understanding what it entails. The difference between what the church claims it is and that from a practitioner's perspective. I want you to think about this for just a moment. If you've been wronged and you get so low that you cry out for help in a spiritual manner and a demon comes to you and says, hey, you house me. I'll deal with these asshats. Cool. vengeance, demon possession. Okay? Sometimes it's just a matter of wronging a practitioner and you get your ass cursed and you end up possessed. You become a totem, I guess you could say, for a spirit. You get hexed. Hexed is a term that is used for teaching an individual a lesson, whereas a curse is simply meant to destroy. So you see, when you go spiritualism, there are many ways that you can become possessed. But those of us in these fields that literally go out and work with spirits, no matter if it's the jinn, no matter if it's the Orisha, no matter if it's the Loa, working with the Lord of Death himself, Baron Samedi or Baroness Dambella. If we're working with Papa Gedi, who was put in power by Baron Samedi himself, or even working with a demon such as Zazazel, Azazel, or you're working with Samael, the Venom. You're working with Abaddon, the Destroyer. It doesn't matter. You could be working with Anubis, the Lord of Dead, Hades, the Lord of Dead, Hell, or Helios, the Lord of Dead, Orion, the Dark God, or Chernobog in Slavic, the Dark God. Either way, in folklore, history, mythology, there's so much that has backed this up. So why are people so afraid of it? It's up to you if you wish to work with demons. It is up to you if you wish to allow them to come into you at will. It is also up to you if you invite them into your inner sanctum to work with them. No one's twisting your arm or twisting your proverbial leg. Step up or step down. That is the only choice you have to make. But voluntary possession is something that will benefit you, especially if you're into the dark arts or what is classified as black magic in general. Dark sorcery, witchcraft, whatever view you put on it. And this is why. By aligning yourself with them, you're making a alignment that will last. It is a matter of trust. It is a matter of complete harmonization. This is where you and that demon's goals are aligned. You help me, I'll help you. Teach me to become more, I'll help you out. Think of it if you go into another territory. Okay, you get evicted from your house. Your neighbor or friend, say 2 blocks away, who says, "You know what? I'll take you in. You can sleep on my couch." Hmm. It's not inviting a spirit into your home, into your life. Think about that. You do that all the time. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not blaspheme. Do not blaspheme my name." That unforgivable sin. Why do you think all these occultists take this so literal? They're sick of the bullshit. They're seeking out truth, and they're literally getting into the old ways. They're beginning their journey. And when you've made a spiritual contact for the first time, it is something that you will never forget. Ever. Have a good day. Thanks for joining me, Brother Hades. It's an honor to see you.